All right, let's talk about one of the internet's biggest, most important magic tricks. Seriously, it's happening in your house right now, every single second you're online. And without it, well, the internet as we know it just wouldn't work. Okay, so here's the deal. The internet has a huge problem. I mean, just think about it. How many devices in your home are connected to the internet right now? Your laptop, your phone, maybe a TV, a smartwatch. The list just keeps growing, right? But the number of available addresses for all these devices is, believe it or not, extremely limited. So how in the world does this whole thing not just completely fall apart? And when I say limited, I mean really limited. The original system for internet addresses, the one that still runs most of the internet today, it's called IPv4. It only has about 4 billion addresses. That's it, 4 billion. We have way, way more devices than that online. It just doesn't add up, does it? It sounds like it should be impossible. But there's a trick, a really, really clever workaround. Okay, to really get how this works, we're going to forget about all the techie stuff for a second. Instead, let's just use a simple analogy. Picture a really busy office. Now in this office, you've got 100 employees. Can you imagine giving every single person their own unique public phone number? It would be a nightmare, not to mention super expensive and totally unnecessary. So what do instead? Something much smarter. They have just one public phone number for the entire company and a receptionist who's in charge of handling all the calls. So let's say an employee at extension 101 needs to call a client. They don't just dial out directly. Nope. They tell the receptionist, hey, can you connect me to this number? The receptionist then makes a little note in a logbook, something like extension 101 is calling this client, and then the receptionist makes the call using the company's one main number. To the person on the other end, the call just looks like it's coming from the company, not from a specific desk. Okay, but here's the really cool part. What happens when that client calls back? They just dial that same main company number. The receptionist picks up, takes a quick look at their notes, and goes, aha, this call is for extension 101. And boom, they transfer the call directly to the right employee. It's seamless. You've got 100 people all talking to the outside world, but they're sharing just one number, all thanks to that receptionist and their little notebook. So what does any of this have to do with the internet? Well, you've probably already guessed it. That receptionist, the one expertly managing all the calls, that's exactly what's happening on your home network. And the technology that plays the role of the receptionist is called NAT. NAT stands for Network Address Translation, and it's basically the technical term for our receptionist. It's a clever technique, and it's built right into your home Wi-Fi router. Its job is to take all of your private devices, your phone, your laptop, all that stuff, and let them share the one single public IP address that your internet company gives you. And you know what's cool? The analogy lines up almost perfectly. The office building, that's your home network. The employee's personal extension, like 101, that's your phone's private IP address. The company's one public phone number, that's your public IP address. And our hero, the receptionist, you got it, that's your router. And that little notebook they were keeping, that's called a NAT table. So that NAT table is really just a simple list. When your laptop wants to go to, say, Google, your router makes a note. Okay, the request from this laptop is going out into the world using my public address. Then when Google sends the website back, it sends it to your router's public address. The router just looks at its list and says, oh, this is for the laptop, and sends it right along. Simple as that. But hang on a second. You might be thinking, there's a problem here. What happens when things get a little more complicated for our receptionist, or our router? Think about this. What if your laptop and your phone both try to visit google.com at the exact same time? Now, Google sends back 2 different responses, but they're both addressed to your router's one public IP address. How in the world does the router figure out which response goes to the laptop and which one goes to the phone? It could get pretty messy, right? Well, this is where the system gets even smarter. The solution is an upgraded version of NAT called PAT, which stands for Port Address Translation, and pretty much every router you'll ever use has this built in. What PAT does is add one extra little piece of info to the receptionist's notebook, a port number. You can think of a port number as being like a specific note on a sticky tab. It helps identify the exact conversation. So here's how it works. When your laptop makes its request, the router attaches a unique port number, let's say 5001. Then, when your phone makes its request a millisecond later, the router gives it a different port number, like 5002. Now, when the replies come back from Google, they're not just addressed to your router, they're addressed to your router plus that specific part number. The router sees port 5001 and goes, that's for the laptop. It sees 5002 and says that one's for the phone. Problem solved. Zero confusion. All right, so we've kind of peeked behind the curtain and seen how the magic trick works. But let's take a step back and talk about why this is so incredibly important for you, for me, for everyone using the internet. First off, the big one. It completely solved that massive problem of running out of internet addresses. It's the reason the internet could grow from a small network to the global giant it is today. Plus, it gives you a little bit of built-in security because it hides all your personal devices behind your router. Now, it's not perfect. The main downside is that it can sometimes mess with certain apps, like some online games or video chat services that really want a direct one-to-one connection. But for the most part, it works beautifully. So let's just recap the key stuff here. The big takeaway is that NAT is the receptionist for your network. It's the magic trick that solved the internet's massive address shortage problem. The version we all use, PAT, uses those little port numbers to keep all our different conversations straight so nothing gets mixed up. And the best part? Your router does all of this for you, automatically, without you even having to think about it. And you know what? You can see this for yourself right now. Seriously, try this. On your computer, open up a browser and go to a website like whatismyip.com. Now, grab your phone, make sure you're connected to your Wi-Fi, and go to the very same site. What do you see? It's the exact same public IP address on both devices. That is NAT in action. That's the magic trick happening right in front of you.